Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the CAE Meet Your Competition series. I'm Jake Mihevik. My colleagues David Zychek and Dan Manson assist with this project. And this semester, we have decided to talk to a few different programs that have well-established and successful competition programs. I'm very happy to have Tom Niederost with us today. Tom runs the University of Central Florida program, and I'm always jealous of first of all, the fact that you have 4 years with your students, but also how he's really built a pipeline where students train other students. And I think that is at the heart of the success of his program over the years. And that's the reason we've asked him to come here today and tell us a little bit about the program that he's built and some lessons learned for the community. Tom, welcome and take it away.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Let's see, can I get sharing? Uh, okay, let's see, share. Want to share this. And
Got it.
okay, so now I have something in the middle that I can't get to the presentation. So that is, was it Shift 5? Is that right? I'm looking to start my slideshow. Slideshow. Oh, there we go. I have overlapping things on the screen here.
Sure,
Okay, so now you see the full screen.
we do.
Awesome. Okay, so this I'm going to talk about our what we officially call our collegiate cybersecurity competition team and how we all got started, and kind of the relationship of our club to our team and how all this came out to be. So let's go back to the beginning. This is John. Uh, John was a former student of mine in Fundamentals of IT way back in September of 2012. And he came to me one day and opened his laptop and said, "Hey, I want to do this competition." And I took a look at it, and it was the website for the Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition, which I'd never even heard of at that point. I took a few moments. Oh, this is going way too fast. I didn't know that I had those set. Let me go back. I back. Okay, so he had the website for the National Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition. And the first thing I did is when I read through it, I noticed that he required a team. And my first question to John was, do you know at least 7 other students that have as good of a background in cybersecurity and or like network administration that he did? And his answer was, I think we can find some. Why does this keep advancing on me? So I'm not sure. I did not set timing on this. I'm not sure where this is all coming from. So anyway, John wrote an email to all our students in cybersecurity, which was really computer science, information technology, and computer engineering majors, saying, I want to do this competition and to come to this meeting. As you can see here, I'm not sure why I can't get it to, is this a screen
What
sharing?
we're
Yes, it
what
was.
we're seeing is just one slide where it says join our team. I think it's a
Oh,
separate
okay. Well,
share.
my screen is advancing for some reason.
Maybe you want to stop the share and reshare.
Yeah, let me do that.
And feel free to leave it in presenter mode. Sometimes that reduces the complexity to just,
Yeah.
it looks a little less great, but it doesn't, the animations are disabled.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't put it, I'm not sure why it was doing that. Okay, so we want to stay, let's see, you are sharing the screen. Okay, so I have to move this out of my way. Okay, so I asked John and he said, I think you can find these students. He actually wrote, that's the actual email that he sent out to the students. I believe it was on a Tuesday afternoon, if I remember correctly, saying, come to this meeting on Friday. And here I am hoping that we have at least 12 students there so we could kind of put a team together. Um, I walk into the meeting and the room is just packed. There are 86 students there. The first thing I found out was I don't know how many of them really read what the competition was about because there was a whole lot of interest in cybersecurity, and a lot of them were interested in penetration testing or being the hackers, not necessarily having system admin experience. But what I decided to do right at that point is like I can't pick 8 or 12 out of this many students and just leave them. So where is my cursor? It's disappeared again. Come on, cursor. There we go. We decided to regroup and form a cybersecurity club. So that was kind of the initial focus. That was in late September of 2012. And from there, we actually created the club. There's our initial founding constitution or starting start of the Constitution anyway, the first couple of articles in it, to basically have this club that would both do offensive and defensive security and do a lot of competitions. That was our initial focus. We called ourselves the Collegiate Cyber Defense Club to play off the name of the competition using the same CCDC because we felt it would get us some good web hits. And it did come up very highly on the web search, but our students didn't like that. They protested. And although they used the name of the club, they used the URL hackucf.org. And this is even pre-Snowden days. So our UCF got very a little bit nervous about having something called Hack UCF on their campus. But they've gotten over it. For just to let you know, we were around 120 students by the end of that very first year in the club. But this year we were currently at 493 paid active students that are currently on our campus. Plus, we have a number of alumni that also still stay active and tune into our meetings or sometimes our planning sessions as well. Okay, come on, cursor. Okay, so going back in January of 2013, we decided to hold tryouts for our first CCDC competition team. 16 students showed up out of this club that had that many students. And I really didn't have much of a choice in the members. 2 of them were graduate students that as soon as I heard how much I wanted them to practice, they said, I can't do it. 2 of them didn't even know what system administration was about. Like they were very, very novice users. So that brought me down to 12 students. And those 12 students were our very first roster. And from there, we had 2 months of training and practice to qualify for the virtual regional. And just to let folks know that are, let's say, from the Southeast region, way back in 2013, there were only 9 teams that entered the qualification round. And we all felt pretty confident that we would not be the 9th team, that we could do a little bit better than that. So we felt we'd be able to qualify, and we did. We also went on and won the Southeast Regional in our first year, which surprised everybody on the team, including me. We were just hoping not to be the last team at the regional. So after winning the regional, we were able to advance to the national round, which was in San Antonio. And while I don't really have any pictures from that year to put up here, I will tell you we finished 10th out in the nation, which was basically we lost. We were 10th out of 10 teams that were there. Yet, being our inaugural year, and remember this competition had been already running for something like 8 years, 9 years beforehand, I felt we did pretty good. And the team was really excited with their performance, even though they said 10 out of 10, we'll come back and do it again. So they did. And in 2014, I expected we'd have a lot more students try out. I only had 14 students actually want to be on the team because they knew about the grueling demands for training and practice. So between that and our students that were returning from the previous year, we once again went on to win our regional. The team practices and it still does, 2 weekend nights during the week from 7 p.m. till 11 p.m. and on either a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon from 1 until 6 p.m. So it's probably 14, 15 hours together. Plus, they have a lot of work to do and setting up in between hand. Uh, by the way, I'll just comment now. I leave the training for these teams, depending on whatever competition we're doing, up to the team captain to decide. I do not prepare the training material at all. I'm the administration side behind getting them practice spaces, making travel plans, securing that type of whatever they need for their environment. But they train themselves, so like it's not a huge, I guess, strain on my time. It's just a time commitment. So they develop their own material every year for training. And from this was 2014, we went on to my cursor's disappearing again to the nationals, and we actually won it. So in our second year, we won our national competition, which brought a lot of notoriety to UCF. Our pictures got placed on a billboard in Times Square. That brought a whole lot of phone calls to our college dean and the university president. And we also, that year, if my mouse works, got to go to the White House and actually met at that, who was then Vice President Joe Biden, and also met the cyber czar at the time, which I don't remember his name off the hand, Michael. I have it in my notes. I'm slipping through everything. Oh, Michael Daniels. I'm sorry about that. So where are we now? Okay, so we're in 2025. Just to bring you up to date, what we've done is I'll explain how we're organized too, but where we stand, we're top 1% on CTF time in all these different categories. Where the CTF time is, I mean, nothing really official, but gives you an idea on how well you're doing to compared to everyone else. We were rated for the last calendar year for all of 2024, 22nd out of 6,000 and some teams in the US, 163rd out of, I tried to look up the number yesterday and it says there's 999 international teams, which is not correct because the year before that there's 40,000 and some. So something was wrong with their website. But you can see that we've done fairly well in the capture the flag type competitions. And overall, I do not know why my cursor comes and goes. We have 169 top 3 finishes, as you can see there. And this is as of yesterday. I updated all my numbers. Over all the competitions that since we've actually been a competition team, have won. And again, these are just placing first, second, or third. We have 12 national championships under a belt, and you can see what they were in. We are the most winningest team in the collegiate cyber defense competition, having 6 of those under our belt already. The competition that only happened once, the NSA CAE NCX competition in 2022, we actually came out on top in that one as well. Cyberforce, we started doing that competition the second year that they offered it. And we currently have 5 first place finishes in that one. Not to mention, we also have 3 second place finishes in that one as well. And we also participate in the collegiate penetration testing competition. That one we've only won once. We also have a second place finish and 2 third place finishes in the CPTC competition. So how are we organized? What we quickly realized after maybe the first or second year was that we needed to plan for continuity. And our officers, I had great officers the first year that recognized that and made sure information was passed along. One thing that's different here, that's what this slide is about, is our student club, the Collegiate Cyber Defense Club, or more affectionately known as HACK at UCF, is a student organization. So while I am their advisor, that is my true role there. They're run by their officers that the students elect. And it can become a popularity contest as to who gets what officer roles each year based on the voting membership. So to provide or to alleviate any potential for favoritism to certain friends and stuff like that, we've actually separated out our collegiate cyber competition team from the club. The club still does many competitions, CTFs and other ones, but they're always inclusive. These are the competitions that do not limit the number of students that compete from our school. So I'll never have 400 people that want to do a competition, but whatever the club does are competitions that do not restrict us in any way from having student center. We can put either multiple teams in or have everyone play on one CTF team. Things like that are what the club does. So they keep fairly busy with those competitions. On the other side, the academic team is the Collegiate Cyber Security Competition Team, and we have that sponsored by our college. So I'm their faculty advisor for that as well. So there's kind of, it's a bifurcated system, but it works well. There's a lot of synergies between them. I ensure that everyone that's on my C3 team joins HACK at UCF if they're not already a member of it. And this allows the competition team basically are our strongest students, and it allows us to have them give back to the club. From the external view of anybody looking at us, the club and team are synonymous. It's kind of like a varsity team within a club. But there are some very beneficial organizational differences that we need to keep straight. Internally, our UCF Foundation can raise money for academic teams or academic departments. They stay far away from student clubs, which are run by students, not university employees. So we're able to benefit by having the UCF Foundation help solicit donations from companies and or alumni to support our team for the competition expenses and registration fees. As well as the club officers have no selection in who makes the competition team, who goes to each of these competitions that we go to. So it takes the view of favoritism by other students out. Anything that the club does, the officers are welcome. Anybody that's in our club is welcome to participate in those competitions. So it has worked out really well as a having like the divisional, I guess, wall in between there, but truly it works together as one good group. And the next two slides just kind of summarize that. The club competes in many inclusive competitions. These are the ones that have no limit on who can compete, or the number of people who can compete. So anybody in our club that wants to can. Most of these RCTFs that are done on the weekends, there's usually one at least every weekend, if not more. And there are also many other competitions that are out there like Hivestorm, NCAA Cyber Games, etc., that will allow us to put many teams in, enough that we have never had to say no to people that wanted to compete. On the other hand, the competition team competes in the, I hate to say exclusive, but these are the exclusive competitions where we are limited to having one team or maybe two teams and we have way more students that would want to be on those teams and want to try out for those. I have an objective for them. We need to come back with a first place trophy in every opportunity that we can. And so that's the goal for that team. I'm still happy if they place, and they've done super, super well. So you'll also notice there that just because you're on the roster for the C3 team does not mean you're going to compete in every competition. You may be an alternate for only one of them. In another case, you may watch someone next to you who's just got a really broad skill set go to almost every single competition that they do because they are my best players. Just like a football team, I put our best player for each position on that field. It is open to everyone. It's not just, while our club is my primary recruiting ground, the opportunities to apply for the competition or competition team are open to everyone at the university, even if they're not in our college of computer science and engineering. So I've had someone from the College of Education, someone from the where else were they for? We had a psychology major, so College of Sciences, I guess, apply simply because they had a really strong background already. The reason they were a psychology major is they wanted to do more with social engineering and tricking people into doing things. They already had a pretty good background in cybersecurity, so they were a great fit for our team. And also, the other thing that students have to remember is if they make our C3 team and travel, they are ambassadors of our university. So they represent our university, our college, and me. And so there's a couple things that I require. They have to act professionally. They're going to wear the uniform that I tell them they're going to wear. They're going to tuck in those shirts, and they're going to have, their belts and everything else on, and look neat and professional and act professionally while we're traveling. So uh, I put that up front with the students, and if they're those individuals that don't want to conform, they don't need to bother sending in an application, regardless of what their skill level is. So just to let students know, we do that. We've got a few more slides here, but I also want to say during the application process, I hold an information session meeting first to give all the details to the students, explaining what will be expected of them, the time commitment, that we cover all the travel expenses through the university, but we have these trade-offs, like you have to wear the uniform, you have to commit to the practices, things like that. Here's just some happy pictures. We do a lot of community outreach events as well. There's some students tabling on campus, just either getting other interested students or people to stop by to see what Hack UCF actually is. Every year we design a new shirt for the club. We send students out to area high schools. In that group, they're talking to a group of cyber patriots at a relatively local, they're about 15 minutes away at a high school. We have students that have been on our local news doing reporters. It's a reporter in our cyber lab. And we've spoken at different conferences, some people all over the place. We also compete. As you'll see, lots of different checks up there, different competitions that we've done in the past. And I guess the more we win, the more we have students that are interested in being on our team and coming to UCF. Just some areas of community. Here's some more competition teams that people hang out with each other as they become friends. The competition team gets even closer than the club. It's almost like a fraternity. Some more pictures from conferences. In that middle picture in the top, the two guys that look a lot alike in the light blue shirts have now gone into graduate school. They're actually out working in industry already. So they stick around. That is the end of my slides, but I did want to talk a little bit about, I guess, some points, and then I'll take questions. Lessons learned. One was definitely plan for continuity. So a group of friends doesn't get really good and they all graduate and you have to start over again. Our team has been very good about that. They prepare their own training. They have everything saved on drives. I don't even know where it all is, to tell you the truth. They pass it along from year to year. I leave that up to them. As their advisor, I feel my role is knowing the different competitions that we're going into and what is expected, and then knowing each of the students on the team very well. So I know what their skill sets are and what they'll be good at doing, and actually creating those rosters that go to each of these competitions. Also on the club side, there's not a whole lot you can do because they are club run events. I advise the officers, obviously let them know if they're running afoul or potentially afoul of university regulations. But for the most part, they do everything in the club on their own. They decide what type of content to present at the meetings, who to invite for speakers, what type of social events the club is going to do, etc. I do attend all those meetings because I'm watching to see who's there every weekend. I watch to see how people do in the clubs competitions like the CTFs, etc. And that's a prime recruiting ground for me, for our competition team. Again, I work closely with that competition team, much more closely with them. I know each of them very personally, know a little bit about their families, and can rely on them to help the club as well, present at meetings on special topics that they're experts in. And again, the team itself also, I look at the continuity planning for that, realizing who's coming back next year, who's not going to come back next year, who's graduating, and figuring out who we're going to bring into the team and like kind of what skill sets I'm looking for. So um, I guess the biggest thing from my point is let the students train themselves. If they're interested in this, they're going to do a better job than I can because I was not a competitor in any of these competitions. I can just observe right now and look at kind of the skill sets that are asked for in the different events and then trying to put together the biggest roster or the best roster for that competition. I guess I'll take questions that anybody has at this point.
Go ahead, Indira.
I'm going to stop my slideshow there.
I was clapping. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Great presentation, such a great synergy. I mean, it's just awesome. Congratulations. Well, I had a couple of questions. One was first, how do you keep track of all the competitions? Because I felt that some of the accomplishments we had, and I was trying to document, and I haven't been so many years in this position. So when I took over, I learned about the history of our team, but I feel that I don't have all the documentation that you were able to present, over time, and all the, not only the pictures but the events that. And I was trying to collect that, but it's like all over the place. So my question to you is, how do you keep track of all the accomplishments? And yeah, more about the operations. That's my question. Thanks.
I honor well, the club takes care of all the training material. I wouldn't even be able to find what they're using to train for the competitions. I have my own set of folders. I have basically a C3 folder, and within that, I've created subfolders for each of the different competitions that we do. What you'll find out though is some competitions are really long running. So within there, I'll have another folder for every year. For CCDC folder, I have folders from 2013 all the way through 2025 right now. And then I kind of save information that I have as far as any of our travel information, photos from those competitions, all in that area. I kind of double up on the photos though, because they're also in my photos directory, just lumped together by date. So that helps me like pull out photos for putting together a presentation or something. The competition schedules, what you're going to find out is, like I said, a lot of competitions are very long running. They've been around for years and years and years. And then other ones, and they could be great ones, like the NSA NCX games when they did that one. It only happened once. It was projected to go on for a long period of time, but they only did it once and they dropped it. So I have a lot of photos for a lot of folders with pictures and documents from competitions that are no longer around. What I do though is I keep literally just a Word document that I post on a bulletin board with what our schedule is for the year. And then once an event happens, I update it to show what our results were, if we won or if we did not place in the competition. And that is the most accurate because as a new competition comes in, it'll get added to the next year's sheet. But I keep it out by academic year. So I'll know that we're doing CCDC in the spring, CPTC, the penetration competition in the fall. And as soon as the dates are announced, I'll put that on there. Once the date passes, I'll have our results posted on that. And I use that like for planning for the future year. The other thing I do is I put it into my Outlook calendar as soon as dates for competitions are announced. And once that happens, I'm starting to think of what team members I want to put on those rosters for those competitions.
Oh, well, that's a lot of um, um, tracking that you do. Amazing job. Thank you. Thank you.
It is. That's another thing that to say is after I guess 11 years of doing this and still being a full-time instructor lecturer, they finally allowed me to we as an instructor lecturer we do 4 courses per semester.
Mhm.
And I was fortunate to only have 1 or 2 preps. I have a couple sections. But after about 11 years, they decided that I could actually have 2 course releases each semester. So now I only teach 2 courses, fall and spring, each semester. And then that does give me a lot more time to spend with the team and travel. The other thing is I got fortunate before the pandemic set in, and that the classes I was teaching, I moved all to online. So when the pandemic happened, my classes flowed smoothly. I know competitions changed a lot during that period, but now that we're back to it, I still have these online classes. So I don't have weekly lectures to prep for anymore. Everything is set up online. It gives me a lot of time to spend with both the club and the team.
Wow, amazing work. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
My question is about, I'm picturing all these practical skills that students are learning through your club and how that must really just strengthen the academic program. I know that works at our school for our competition team, but we're small. Can you talk a little bit about how students training each other and all these practical skills that they're building, how that has strengthened the academic program?
Yeah, certainly. Again, um, as I'm looking to add people to the team, I'm trying to bring them in as young as possible so we have as long as possible with them. So let's say I had four freshmen that I was looking at for the team this year. They're already learning skills or learned skills during this year that they're not going to see in classes until they're juniors or seniors. They're still doing general ed classwork, yet they know everything about virtualization, and uh, they learned how to use GitHub and put files up there. They're learning a lot of the material through the club and through the workshops the club does, um, way before they're going to see it in classes, which does make the classes easier and makes them excel through those classes once they get to be a junior or senior. Usually they end up being TAs for the classes and or just being very helpful students in the classes. Once they get into that coursework, it becomes easy because they kind of learned it on their own through the club and doing competitions in their earlier years.
And I'm guessing they've also learned how to interact with the team and how to teach each other skills. And I can just imagine how that all of that, the technical knowledge and the teamwork is it really must strengthen the academic program.
It is, and I'm fortunate because we do have so many students at UCF. Our campus is nearly 70,000 students. We have 15,000 in the College of Engineering and Computer Science. I believe we're somewhere around 7,000 are like computing majors themselves, computer science, IT. So not everybody's interested in cybersecurity, but still the number of people that are very large. So when we're doing tryouts, there's going to be a number of students that have some strong skills in one area or another just from life experiences that they've had along the way. But yes, as you mentioned, it is important not only to have the right skills on the team, but making sure that they get along with each other. If one person is great, but no one can get along with them, I'm not going to put them on my C3 team roster. Uh, they have to work together. They're all really bright. They all know they're really bright students. Uh, I think the biggest thing is watching them learn to accept that someone else knows more than they do on that team. They may be the Windows experts, but they think they're the Linux expert also. And they quickly get schooled on their own by the person sitting next to them. That they start to realize that they have their niche, that's their expertise, but they can learn from the others that are on the team, and that's why they end up bonding really, really well.
Tom, can you talk a little bit more about the qualification process that you're doing for the C3, specifically for the C3, and how does it correlates in terms of the time of the year, the semesters? You're on semester, right? You do fall, winter, and so how do you manage the timing that you got new kids coming in and starting in the fall and all this scheduling thing as well?
Sure. So we're on semesters. Our club and our team, we really don't do much in the summer. There may be our club officers meet by Zoom, just kind of planning what they want for the next year. But there's really not much that happens as far as competition. Some people, I don't really track that. They do CTFs on their own. They'll get a few friends together and do that. But for the fall and the spring, so each fall, the way UCF is structured, student clubs cannot meet during the very first week of the school year, simply because the registrar's office is still moving classes around and they don't know what rooms are available for groups after hours or anything like that. So the club always meets during the second week of the semester as early as they possibly can. And I'll talk to that. Usually we get a huge turnout for that. A lot of people drop off because they found out it's not what they wanted, but others stick around. So from there, I'll announce about the C3 team and say we're going to have a separate information session. I do that for that second week and also the third week club meeting. During the either later in the third week or beginning of the fourth week of the semester, I'll hold an entirely separate meeting for students that want to be involved with the C3 team beyond the competition team. At that meeting, I'll explain exactly what the whole process is, what we're looking for. So we talk about the time commitment, the number of people that we're looking for, the number of people we have coming back, explaining that the club is where you want to be if you're a new student that showed up and said, I want to do cybersecurity, but I don't know a lot. The team is for people that are more advanced to begin with. They're coming in with some background in system admin, network admin, or even just strong understanding of programming, like reverse engineering, things like that. Some students, believe it or not, have that coming in from the high schools these years. So that kind of helps students somewhat self-select. The next process is filling out a paper application, and it's just tracking that information. What do you know already? What have you done? And what are you interested in doing? And we'll talk about at the meeting the different competitions that the team does. So I have an idea on what the penetration testing competition is, how that is different from the cyber defense competition, and let people kind of check off different boxes for different competitions. I look through all that information, and the first thing I do is a paper cut, which simply is the people that have no background at all that just say, I'm really motivated and I want to do this. I'm polite, but I'll refer them back to the club until they get more experience. Go to the club, do their competitions. Let's see how you do in some of the open competitions. For the people that look good on paper, I'll call them in for a personal interview. And that's kind of more or less to verify what they have on their paper. Some people are very modest in what they write down, and I find out that they know a lot more than the few boxes that they checked off. Some are think they know a whole lot more than they do. Let's just put it that way. They think they're the best person that's ever come to UCF, and well, I'll give them a few questions and see what they can do with it there. So that gives me an idea on the personality of the student. And then I'm looking at that point of the applications that I have and the openings that I have on the team. How's this person going to fit into what competition? And from there, they'll either, for like CCDC, it's relatively easy to do a hands-on trial. And we'll do it more in the Hivestorm style, where you give them a vulnerable VM, ask them to patch it, document what they've done to secure it, and also what you'd have to do to like revert it back to the format that we're given. So you don't want them to patch it to the point that they break it and then no one else can get into the system. So that we see how comfortable they are working with that. Are they already comfortable working in virtual environments? If not, go back to the club. We're going to talk about what VMs are, how to create them, how to store them, that type of stuff. And from there, some other events, for instance, like firewalls, it's kind of tough to do anything hands-on. That's just a conversation, and I can have the initial one, but I'm going to put them in touch. And our like firewall person that does our firewalls for competitions or the club's infrastructure, will interview them and find out how much they know. And if regardless of what they know, they're going to have to learn a lot about what we have at UCF. So usually we'll pair them up, and they'll have a mentor of like someone that's a junior or a senior, helping them get up to speed on topics that they don't know, and or just understanding how our infrastructure is set up at UCF so that they can help take over it by the time they're juniors and seniors. So that's kind of how we do it. Again, I do favor younger students coming in as freshmen. We do get a number of transfer students at UCF, but unless they've been doing the competitions before, they're probably not going to make the team. They're going to get referred back to the club to work with some of the competitions and training that the club does.
So the teams that you're assembling, those teams are selected specifically for a given competition. Is that right?
Yes. So when I say that the cybersecurity competition team roster that I have, let's talk about numbers. I have come to realize about 25 is the right number. I've had as few as 15 just because that's where my talent was. And I had difficulty with that low of a number staffing the competitions. There wasn't enough breadth of skills. I've had over 25, let's say like 28. I've never gone over 28. But at that time, I'm either not utilizing people, they're not getting the playtime that they want. And what I've realized is around 25 seems to be about the right number for me. I'm able to get the right mix of skills within that group to do both the very competitives, like CTS, where you can only have a team of 4 and that's it, or put together a different team to do something like CCDC.
Thank you.
By the way, everyone in the club, they still see the team as being part of their club because all those team members are truly members of that club, but they are separate organizations. Yet, we have different colored shirts for the competitions that we wear. The team itself, they're very, very proud of their blue windbreaker jackets that we have. Everyone else is jealous, wants to know where they can get them. I'm like, you need to make the team. I'll ask how much they are, and I'm like, they're free, but you need to make our team. So it kind of sets people apart, and like people in the club kind of recognize the students on the team for being someone that's exceptional, that has gone above and beyond what they're really learning in their classes.
And I assume the support that you get for all those jackets and polo shirts and all that is from the donations you get from the industry folks, right?
Yes, we're fully. Let's go back to the very beginning when the most I could get from anybody was I think it was a $200 registration fee for Southeast CCDC that year. That was it. Then when we made it, we had to figure out how we're going to get there, and we couldn't even afford to like rent a van. We drove our own cars, figuring out who had the cars that could take the most people and got the best gas mileage, and threw money in a pool together and like reimbursed people for the gas. We packed in it wasn't a Motel 6, but it was a pretty bad hotel that first year, and paid for it ourselves. We kind of had to do the same thing the second year, although we got a little bit more money in from some of our I'm not saying club donors, but they were just university alumni at that point, realized we had a team, and we did a little bit better. But once we won that first national championship, then a whole lot of people noticed. Companies noticed, alumni, both from our club and or just general UCF alumni noticed, and money's been coming in. And of course, at that point, the UCF Foundation got involved and helps to donate. They're always looking to try and pitch the C3 team as something that is worth investing in. So yes, we raise our own money. You may want to know what we do with that money. It's travel expenses, registration, travel when you're actually paying meal allowances and stuff to students adds up very, very quickly. The shirts and the jackets are pretty much a minor cost. That's maybe $2,000, $3,000 a year total in that. But the travel costs add up. Our total budget is we spend between $60,000 and $65,000 a year on the competitions we do. And right now, we're doing about 12 to 15 during the fall and 12 to 15 during the semester. Not all of those involve travel, but some of them, like CCDC, you do virtual, go someplace local, and then maybe have to travel farther for the national competition. And we have money to do that. So a lot of it has been corporate donations, but we're getting more and more from the companies that our alumni, our cyber alumni are working at, and the alumni are at that point where they're starting to contribute their own money as well to keep us running.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
We're getting a little low on time, but Tom, I have to ask a quick question about the communication within the club. And I know that there's a lot of research on defensive communication and supportive communication. And sometimes the competitive spirit can create the kind of defensive communication where a little bit dismissive and not as supportive as we like to see as educators. And I'm guessing that some years you get to take a totally hands-off approach with your team. And some years you might feel like you need to intervene a little bit with that communication culture. And I'm just wondering if you have any special sauce about how you've intervened in the past and made it so that they're a little bit more supportive and a little less competitive among themselves.
Yeah, within the club itself, to tell you the truth, that hasn't been much of an issue with the smaller team. They've always gotten along. I mean, some people are better friends than others, but we haven't. If they've had arguments, it's kind of almost like that brother and sister bickering that happens in families. You know, you still love each other, you just like aren't agreeing on that date. Within our club, though, yeah, we've had years because I have no impact on who gets chosen to be the club officers, where it becomes a popularity contest, and every once in a while, usually we get good candidates anyway, but sometimes people that were popular either don't have the time or were just running for the title they wanted to put on their resume and they weren't invested in the club, or they just have very, very different goals from probably what the rest of the officers have. In that case, I have had to get involved and talk to each individual a little bit about that and just focus on what I do with that case. We have a constitution that has our mission and our objectives. So I'd say one thing I do have to keep reminding them of: they love to meet, they love to learn, and they like to do competitions in the club. But one of our missions is outreach. So we have people coming in from campus that know about us. So reminding them that they do need to plan to get out to do those high school visits. Or this year we partnered with Orange County Public Schools to do the Central Florida Cyber Challenge, which was a competition that Orange County Public Schools does in consultation with EC Council. They use the EC Council Cyber Range. And we co-branded with that, brought out our students to help do tech support for that as well. And but reminding them of those opportunities, because that puts our face in front of the next generation of students that are coming up. And once they start doing that, they enjoy it. But the club and the club officers never think to do that. They're so busy planning their weekly meetings and making sure that everything runs right for within the club. By the way, our club also, through a generous donation from Lockheed Martin, has our Cyber Innovation Lab and a lot of hardware behind that equipment that's in a computer room. So we kind of have our own private cloud that's offered to the members of the club. So when they run out of their AWS free credits, and they usually do, because they leave a VM running or something like that, we don't have all the capability, but we definitely have storage space out there for them to practice and set up their own like little networks and stuff like that. So the club is also always worried about making sure that's up and running. 100% students set up almost every single year. We get a different administrator, and they've gone back and forth from VMware to Proxmox. Now they're on OpenStack. I've been involved in that. I think they finally got their documentation right on OpenStack, that there's enough true documentation there that someone that's going to take it over can keep the club's infrastructure running. Because trust me, they've changed it so much, I don't know where anything is anymore. But they get it running. If it's down, you just ping someone and they'll get it back up and running. So I mean, I think that is my focus with the club. Again, with the team, it has just been smooth sailing. But I think that's to do with an application process and picking the right people at the right times.
Well, thank you very much. I think that some of us would probably ask a number of more questions, but we're approaching the 1 hour point, and I just want to say thank you so much for being with us today, Tom, and appreciate this video will be available for those that are starting cyber clubs and looking to build a program similar to what you built at UCF, and maybe not experience the success that you have, but imitate the structure and start building from there.
I
So
would say,
thank you.
it's a factor of the time. We started a year before everything went kind of crazy with Edward Snowden making his announcement, and then that really generated a lot of interest in cybersecurity, for students coming into school as well. I guess the other comment I'd make for for faculty or administrators trying to start up a club, you really need to let the students run with it. If it's going to be a student organization, they're going to elect who's next, but you get to pick that first group of officers. Make sure you've picked people you can work with that have that vision for the future, not just that they want a title to put on their resume now. Something that we only have 4 main officers: a president, a vice president, a treasurer, and a secretary. But the only time I had any input and really had all the input was figuring out, there's the one person that came to me, John Singer, and he and I chose who we wanted for the first officers. But after that, it's all been student votes. So choose wisely when you have that opportunity if you're starting a club.
Well, thank you. And thank you everyone for being here today and for what's been a great season of these meetings. And thank you, Anne and Yair, for all the organizing that you do. And we'll look forward to seeing everyone at the next Meet Your Competition event. Have a great afternoon, everyone. And thanks again, Tom.
Thank you very much for having me
Thank
today.
you, Jane. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This
All
was
right,
great.
thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good night.